What if I told you that the biggest fraud in the history of finance was not pulled by a group of random criminals or secretive fraudsters, but by one of America's biggest companies? Before its downfall, Enron was the American giant, boasting an annual revenue of $100 billion and employing over 30,000 people in the same year it went completely bankrupt. So what could possibly cause the collapse of such a seemingly immovable, multi-billion-dollar behemoth? Enron's history dates back to 1940, when the Houston Natural Gas Company was founded as a traditional yet simple pipeline business. The company bought natural gas at wholesale prices and sold it to individuals and utilities through its vast pipeline network. However, everything changed when Kenneth Lay and Jeffrey Skilling entered the picture. These guys had ambitious plans for Houston Natural Gas and ultimately made moves to transform it. They arranged a merger between HNG and another pipeline venture, InterNorth, giving birth to Enron, and soon, a surprising turn of events would allow the relatively small company to climb the ladder and become one of the key players in the market. The 1900s brought a number of significant changes in industrial law. The government decided to take a hands-off approach and let the market play out naturally. Enron seized this opportunity, using the deregulations to develop innovative and risky trading strategies that catapulted them to the top of their industry. But you see, although these new strategies propelled them to great heights, they also set them up for a shocking and embarrassing downfall. Now, pay close attention as I am about to explain the fraudulent strategies these guys used. But before we get into that, I need you to know something. The ultimate goal of the leaders of Enron was to lure investors in, and they knew the only way to do that was to show a financial record that no investor would be able to resist. The record had to be so impressive, so meticulous, that you would be a fool not to invest in them. First strategy, or should I say trick, was the use of mark-to-market accounting. What this basically meant was Enron valued their assets not at the current price, but by the estimated future price. Imagine buying $20 shoes right now, but when documenting your expenses, you claim the shoes are worth $100 only because you believe it will be worth that much in the future. Sounds crazy, right? But that's precisely what Enron did. By documenting estimated and inflated prices, Enron could record massive paper profits on their financial statements, effectively fooling the entire world and even themselves. While this strategy seems effective, Enron employed other tactics that not only misled investors, but also helped them deal with pressing real-life problems. In order to manipulate other financial indicators the investors relied on, Andrew Fastow, Enron's chief financial officer, devised an interesting plan. He used special purpose entities, or SPEs for short, which were set up by Enron, but were legally considered separate entities. What were the special purposes of these entities, you might ask? Well, what they did was first set up SPEs, sometimes with Andrew Fastow's family members getting involved. After that, all the risky assets and debt Enron owed were transferred to the accounts of the newly founded SPEs. By doing so, Enron's records were cleared, making the company appear more profitable and nearly debt-free. However, they didn't stop there. Enron continued to apply the mark-to-market accounting trick to the SPEs, further inflating their apparent profit on paper. Although these tricks may seem simple and easily detectable by seasoned investors, they worked like magic. That is, until a certain employee started noticing these shady moves. In August 2001, Sharon Watkins, then the vice president of Enron's corporate development division, wrote an anonymous memo to Enron's CEO. In the memo, she expressed her deep concern over the company's heavy reliance on mark-to-market accounting, the complex network of SPEs, and the false picture being painted to investors and analysts. Essentially, Watkins suspected financial scandal and unethical accounting practices within the company. But of course, this was Enron we are talking about. Those in power disregarded her warnings, claiming that she simply didn't understand the company's complex financial strategies. But fortunately, silencing Watkins was not enough to stop the truth from surfacing. The investors started to grow more and more suspicious. Enron and its amazing record looked too good to be true. These suspicions began as a small flame, but quickly evolved into a raging fire of doubt as short sellers placed bets against Enron stock. With these new developments, the media, analysts, and random business enthusiasts began asking questions and taking a closer look at the reports and records of Enron. But this was just the beginning of troubles that lay ahead for the once mighty corporation. The devastating memo was soon leaked, triggering a chain reaction that would seal Enron's fate. Credit rating agencies began lowering the company's score, making it virtually impossible for Enron to secure loans. Investors started cutting ties with the company at an unprecedented speed, sending shockwaves through the market. Before Enron knew what was happening, their stock price plummeted, and for the first time, revealing the company's true fragility. The once mighty giant was crumbling before everyone's eyes. And just when it seemed that Enron had hit rock bottom, they filed for bankruptcy in October 2001. The news was devastating not only to the financial world, but more importantly to the 30,000 employees of Enron who overnight lost not only their jobs, but also their pensions. Some had even invested their life savings in the company, only to see it vanish in an instant. The human cost of Enron's downfall was immeasurable. But Enron's collapse wasn't an isolated incident. In a stunning turn of events, they managed to drag another massive company down with them, compounding the already catastrophic situation. Arthur Andersen, one of the Big Five accounting firms and Enron's auditors, found itself in the spotlight as Enron's fraudulent practices came to light. It quickly came to light that Arthur Andersen had not been transparent in its dealings with Enron. And how did they deal with this crisis? They started shredding documents. Come on, guys, this is common sense. If you have nothing to hide, you obviously are shredding all of your documents. As a result of their actions, the company not only lost its credibility and clients, but was also convicted of the obstruction of justice. Speaking of justice, it was effectively served to the key figures who took part in Enron's fraud. Enron's CEO Kenneth Lee and his successor, Jeffrey Skilling, faced numerous charges, including fraud and conspiracy. Tragically, Kenneth Lee died of a heart attack after his conviction, while Skilling was sentenced to 24 years in prison. He was released early in 2019. With Enron's fraud and the immense loss it inflicted on countless victims, a new legislation was introduced to prevent similar occurrences in the future. The Sarbanes-Oxley Act of 2002 was designed to increase auditor independence, enhance reporting standards, and mandate CFOs and CEOs accountability, making them personally responsible for the accuracy of their company's financial disclosures. By implementing these measures, the Sarbanes-Oxley Act sought to restore public trust in the financial system and prevent the rise of Enron 2.0.